Hello, today I am taking part in a hop using one stencil several ways with two of my crafty buds, Amy from Amy's Wares and Allison Haikila. So jumping right in, we're all using a gel plate. Mine is 6 by 6, and the first stencil I'll be using two, is Wild Bubbles from A Colorful Life Designs. And so I press the stencil onto the gel plate and it sticks right on. And then I am placing a couple of blops of cobalt teal hue acrylic paint from DecoArt. And I use a brayer to evenly disperse that around this over top of the stencil. And then over top of that, I just lay down the stencil that we'll all be using, which is the stained glass stencil. I will brayer over top of or through that stencil some yellow-green light acrylic paint from DecoArt. And then I carefully remove those. And then the paper that I'll be using is Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I will lay that over top of what I have down on my gel plate right now. You'll see me lay that down, and then I push down on the back of that paper to get that paint all transferred evenly, and then I just pull that first print up, and you can see it's gorgeous. It comes out crisp and clear, and I still have lots left over on my gel plate, so I'm going to add a few drops of titanium white, and then I gently brayer that all over that gel print. And then I lay down another piece of paper and again push all over evenly and pull it up, and that is beautiful. So I have two lovely, one is very bright and bold and the other is more muted, and I'll be using those to make cards. So I pull out this cute mama elephant hamster agenda, and then I pull some sentiments from the Oodles stamp set from A Colorful Life Designs. They have some really great sentiments clear stamp sets. And then I just ink them up using my Memento ink, and then I'll just trim them down, and I will make a sentiment strip out of the Big Squishy Hugs sentiment, and I'm just using my trimmer to trim it down, figuring out how best to do that. And then I will end up, see, I'm not here, I'm trying to figure out how I want to do that, if I want one point, and then I just decide that I'm going to trim it down on both sides, and then I do like one of those fishtails, and I do that on one side. So I just grab my scissors, and then I just cut in to make like a, what I think is called a fishtail. And I am very careful with these because often I'm not very good at getting them even, but that looks pretty good. So then I'll color up my little hamster with the balloons using some Copics. So I have a few different E's in the E zone, so E34, and I start with that, laying down all my shadow work first, and then I hop onto the next color down from there, and I can't remember what that is offhand. You can slow down the video, and then I add in my E13, yeah, and I'll list all the colors below, and then I go to my lightest color, and then I'll just color it. I guess that's not the lightest. I have one more color to go, and I think that was E00 as well. And then I will make the ears the same kind of darkness as the body, and then I go in with the lighter shade on the top portion of the hamster's cute little head. And I love coloring up these tiny little figures because they're really quick and easy. And then I do the balloons in shades of yellow because I think that will be just a bold and bright, fun color to go with the bold colors that I have in the card base that I just created from the gel plate and the stencils. So I go again from I usually start with my Copics from dark to light. And I'll list again the Copics that I use in the description box below. And you can skip all this as well if you want. And then I use my coordinating die set to trim it out. And the little tiny sidekick. Though, oh, that was the best thing I ever bought, that little sidekick. I love it. And then I will mount or adhere my panel onto a top folding A2 size card base, which is 4¼ by 5½. And I've trimmed my panel down, the stenciled gel printed panel down, so that I get a little bit of a border. So when I do that, I normally trim it to 4.23 by 5.48. And that gives me a millimeter on each side. So I'm figuring out how I want to mount that onto the front of the card. And I'm going on an angle. So I just use my liquid glue. I love that Precision Art glue from Barely Arts. And then I will adhere on the little guy, and voila, done. That's the first card done. And then I am going to create another card with the other print that I pulled. And again, I'm going to use the same stuff, just a little bit of a different hamster and a different sentiment. So this one I'm doing a love you oodles, and a cute little hamster holding a heart. And again, I'm going to just do a quick coloring with some Copics. And again, I'll list the Copics I use down below. So at the end of the video, I will link up my two friends' videos, Amy's and Allison's videos, to watch. They are fantastically talented. They are pros at doing videos, YouTube videos, where I am not the best at doing voiceovers. I have to tell you, I am not very experienced voiceover. My videos are usually me not talking. So with this little hamster, I did again the same kind of coloring colors, and I did the dark at the top of her head and her body, and then left the underneath her eyes is going to be a lighter one. I had a hamster growing up that kind of had this coloring. She had like a lighter cream color around her mouth, and then she went into darker the rest of her body, and she was just the sweetest little thing. I had her for years. But hamsters don't normally last a whole long, but I think I had her for like 3 years. So here I am coloring up the lighter part. And then I'm going to do the heart in shades of pinks, RVs. And be careful when you do reds and pinks Copics, because they love to bleed. And so I usually wait until the color around it is completely dried. The alcohol ink dries pretty quickly. So, but I usually wait a little bit longer to add my reds in, because I'm just always not very lucky when it comes to my reds bleeding. But, you know, if you're careful, you just won't get any of that. And here I'm adding a teal bow to her head, to her little head, to match the color scheme on the card. And I'm using BGs, the BG family, and I will die cut her out as well. And this one was a little tricky one. I at first grabbed the wrong die. It looked like it was the right die, but it just wasn't lining up on one cheek. And there's a very similar shaped hamster in there. So, and when you hold it down with washi tape, just be careful when you pull it up that you don't have the washi tape too tacky, because then you'll pull up some of the paper. And then I just trim down around the I love you oodles sentiment. And then I again am using a top folding A2 size card, and I trimmed the panel down so that I get a little bit of a white border all around. And I add a good amount of that Barely Art glue on there and just rub it all over. And then, you know, I'm going to just add the sentiment and the hamster to the center of the card. So just a real simple design. But I really love how this one turned out, the colors, how it came out, this second print. The first print's cute too, nice and bold and strong. But this one I think is my favorite. And then I am pulling a few of the clear hearts. These ones have a bit of a greenish tint to them. I love these. I use them quite a bit. They're from Trinity Stamps. They have awesome embellishments. So I was going to use my aqua glue. That's the one you see with the blue tip, but I forgot. So thanks for visiting, and be sure to check out Amy's and Allison's videos. I'll link them right here. Thanks for watching.